Hello and welcome back to the Kenshatori channel. Now in our first episode, we introduced you to the weekender system for the 110 5-door 5 seats. And today we're going to show you how simple it is to put it in this space. Let's take a look. Now I'd pretty much say most Defenders look a little bit like this. Now the weekender system's been designed for you to install without having to do any major modifications to your car. Now, it uses existing fittings. So, for example, where you would normally have your bench seats or your two inward-facing seats here, they would normally just bolt straight into the wheel arch and to the back here using these fixing points. And that's the same on both sides. Now, the weekender system has been designed on the 4 inward facing seats. So you can see where the back mounts were once bolted in, and then on the floor here you can see where the bases were bolted in. Now what I've done with mine is I took all my seats out and I just put some 8mm riv nuts in all of the holes where my seat bases were. So I could take them in and out on my own without having to have somebody else underneath the wheel arch to take them out. The only modification I've had to make is here. Now, for some reason, Land Rover didn't put a riv nut in here. They just left it loose with a captive nut. So behind here, I've put a riv nut in on both sides. That is the only modification I've really done. Other than that, it's the same. Some of you may have a seatbelt bar, some of you may not. And there are different types of seatbelt bar, and the Weekender has been designed to fit with or without. So it's up to you whether you keep that in or whether you take it out. It will also work with the seatbelts still attached. Now, I don't use my rear seats anymore, but I've decided to keep in the bar just as a reinforcement, really. But let's crack on with the installation. So before we go into the installation, I'm just going to show you what we've got here. So we've got the tool boy right here. We've got the stubby box here. We've got the fridge box and a fridge. We've got the floor piece and the T-piece, and then we've got a spacer rack. Now, we all know that there is an option. If you don't want the fridge box, you can have the general stores box, which is, he says, this box here, trying to do it with one hand. But they both attach in the same way. Today, we're going to go with a fridge box. Now, I've actually had to take this all out of Big Half today, but this is some of the kit that I just keep in there all the time. So, and that still leaves me with lots of space for all of my other luggage. Let's crack on. So now the system normally takes around about half an hour to put in. Once you get used to it, you can do it in 20 minutes, trust me. Now, we're going to start with the tool boy, so bear with me. Now, it's a lot easier if there's 2 of you to do this, but it is doable with just 1 person. This tool boy is shaped to fit in to the curvature of the plastic sides and the wheel arch. And all we do is we simply lift it into place, line it up with the window frame, push it back. Now that's done. Now there's several ways you can fix this. One is to use the existing holes in your wheel arch. Obviously you'd have to drill up through into the system and then bolt it down. The other way is to use the existing fixings for your seat back mounts. Now, like I said, this has been designed for the 4 inward facing seats. So if you have a bench seat, what you might need to do is just measure out the back of the connection bar here and just drill some holes. And all we need to do this is 1 4mm Allen key. or screwdriver or drill driver. Do not use a drill because you can over tension bolts and shear off the hexi heads. And I'm using one of these today because I forgot to charge my drill driver. You don't need to tighten them up too much, just until they bite and a half turn or so. Now, if you're using this as a standalone item, you can fix it the same way, but because you don't have the support of the head end or anything, it might want to pull this way. Now, it's designed with these brackets in mind, and these can simply slot over the back at the top and lock into the internal rail. Oh, can't get it out now. It's a bit awkward, but it's doable. Now, I don't need to put those in because it is already quite solid. Right, next in will be the stubby box. Now, please don't laugh at this because my stubby box is absolutely rammed with tools and it's really, really heavy. Oh my days. So the stubby box just simply slides into place. Let's get that out of the way. And again, the edge of the stubby box just lines up with the back end of the window frame. And again, should match up with the holes for the seat backs. Now what we do is just put these in finger tight for now, because as with so many Defenders, they're not always exactly the same. So we might need to jiggle around a bit. That would do. Right, the next thing we do is we put the floor in. And to do that, the best thing to do to give us some more room is drop the front seats or the middle row seats. Okay, let's grab the floor. Now, while I'm here, I can explain that the tall boy and the stubby box can be used either left and right side. So when you're ordering, just let us know which way you would prefer that, because one of the attachments on the tall boy needs us to make sure that the hinges are the right way round. Other than that, it's simple to go. Now the floor system has routed out sections, and this is so the fridge box and the general stores box, the stubby box and the tall boy can lock this floor panel into position. It's also a fixing point for the general stores box and the fridge box. And it's very simple. We just slide this one in. And it just lines up with the back end of your steel floor plate here. And I don't know if you can see, but just down here, it simply leaves a nice space for your seat belts as well. So there's no need to take those out. Okay, next in will be the T-piece. Now the T-piece comes with the system, but you don't have to use this, but it's great for adding things like inverters onto batteries, subwoofers, anything like that that will fit underneath your seats if you're using your seats. Now again, the T-piece just simply attaches with 3 bolts to your floor piece. So as I said, you don't need to have this piece in, but it makes the rest of the vehicle more uniformed and actually looks really nice when it's in place. The other nice thing about it, as I mentioned in the introduction video, is it's got these 2 slots here, and these are great for locking in your seat support bars, which are these things here. I'll just show you. What they do is they allow the seat bar to fit in there, and that also helps keep these backs level with each other. So that's the T-piece in. So what we're going to put in next is the split door here. Now you can leave it on to take it in and out, but it's really awkward. So my advice would be to always take this door off and then put it in afterwards. So the split door, not only does it give you access into this wheel arch space, but it's part of the system that locks in the floor system here. It might need a bit of jiggery and pokery to line up the bolts, but it does. Here we go. It's always the same when you're trying to do the video. Now we're going back to about putting things in finger tight first. Now I didn't do that on this, so let's just loosen these off a little bit, and that will give us a little bit more wiggle room on this, because this just needs to, there we go, come forward a little bit. Now, if you've got a drill driver, this obviously takes a lot less time. But there we go, that's that in. So that's now one side of the floor locked down. The next thing is to put in the spacer support on the stubby box and then the fridge box. So now we're going to put the fridge in first, and then the fridge box and the spacer bar, and show you how all that goes together. It's quite simple. It all locks into place onto the floor system, and then it's 4 bolts to hold it all in place. So first of all, we take our fridge. As I said before, this is the Alpicool D30 Adventurer 20-litre fridge. So I'm kind of guesstimate where it's going to go in at the moment. Adding my little bit of carpet. Now I know where all this goes, so it's quite simple for me to line up, but in due course, you'll also learn where all this goes. And we have our spacer bar, which is exactly the same lower piece as the tall boy. Now what this spacer bar does is not only help hold the fridge in place, but it's also part of the sleeping system or the head end system. Now the awkward thing is doing this on your own. So bear with me. But the box simply slides over the top of the fridge. He says. And then locks into the floor system. It might take a bit of, there we go, we're in. So now, stupidly, I haven't got my bolts ready. To be honest, I don't even know where they are. But anyway, these simply bolt through into the stubby box. Bear with. Now again, you might just need to do a little bit of leveling up. Again, much easier when you've got 2 people. And much easier with a drill driver. Okay, and then we can do that one up. Right, so that is now the fridge box in. Now I've lost them at the moment, but there are 2 floor bolts as well. So there's a bracket down here and a bracket back here, and they just lock into the floor. But I seem to have misplaced my bolts. So the next thing then is the head end. I'll just go and grab that. Right, now the head end system uses the stubby box, the tall boy, and the fridge or general stores box as its main support. And this actually just simply locks in to these 3 points here. And then if you want to, you can secure it in place by bolting it through into the stubby box or the tall boy. So let's go and grab that. Now this is definitely a lot easier to put in with 2 people. And with mine, I've actually taken off the locks that secure the 3 panels on this 3-way split board. So it might get a bit complicated, but let's give it a go. Yep, it's a little bit complicated when you're on your own anyway. So let's just get inside here. Now with the single panel head end, it's a lot easier. Or if you've got a 3-way like I have, and you actually use the latching fixings on it, you won't have this problem. Now, it is a bit tight to start with, but it's meant to be. And there you have your head end in. Now, I don't bolt mine in, I just leave it open, but there are 2 bolts that you can push through into the stubby box. And then there are 2 bolts that you can push through into the tall boy. Now, when it's all in, you can just simply pull these up using the supplied brackets and just bungee them in place. So what we'd normally have is a locking fixing here. Now I've taken mine off, but basically it's another strip with a locking latch that just bolts through to this point here to keep all these in place. And so there'd be one on this side and there'd be one on that side. Now if you have the single one, the single head end, it's obviously just a single piece of ball, which is very simple to put in. And what it does, it leaves our seats now ready just to go into position. The other thing you get with the kit is this little bracket here, which is got a bungee attached, and it just simply bungees up here onto the head end. So that stops that board from going backwards or falling on your head if you're doing something with your seats. So I've just laid the center part back at the moment because I don't have the locking fixings on my boards. And then just to put your seats back in is like you would normally. Lift your bar up, push your seat belts through your seat, and then you can make sure that your bar is in the slot, which it is. And then, like normal, with a bit of brute force, he says, with my seats anyway, I don't know what your seats are like, lock that into place. And then again, you can do the same with your last seat. Just make sure that that's locked in. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's in. Now, I don't know if you can see, I don't know if you noticed before, but my seats were slightly unlevel before, but now with those slots in the T-piece, those backs are completely level. Right, so the last thing to go in now are the bed panels. Now you've got 2 options of storing these. Well, actually you've got 3. One, You can put them into position here as your sleeping platform, or you can put them up there, out of the way. Or if you want your window space, they will lock into the floor just down here. And that is it. That is the Weekender installed. So there we have it, the Weekender fully installed in less than half an hour, ready to go for your weekend away or your long week, or even longer if you like. It is as simple as that. See you on the next one.